Because I'm using, I don't know, smart notebook.
Okay.
Because Cam Media was
Oh, okay, when I print this out, is there a special way I can print it to get the lines to show it?
Yeah. See the grid lines up there? Okay, I'll help you in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption. That was Mrs. Cook
Sorry.
getting directions. See, it's always fun. Okay, this is your first set of flipped classroom notes. Reasons for European exploration. Enjoy.
Foreign goods is our first reason we will discuss for European exploration. Catholicism was truly the first Christian religion and had a strong influence on all of Europe. In fact, most kings had strong relationships with the Pope, who was the head of the Catholic Church. When Muslims invaded and took over Jerusalem, a place considered to be holy by Catholics as well as Jews, Europeans took action. The Pope called on knights from all over Europe to travel to the Middle East and defend the Holy Land. Men went by the thousands on a journey they considered to be divined by God himself. Europeans and Catholics believed Muslims to be heathen or ungodly. The Crusades, as they came to be known, started in 1095 and lasted for over 200 years. As knights returned home, they brought home new products they had discovered in the Middle East.
David Hall, please come to the office. David Hall, please come to the office.
Sorry.
Wow, that's a little something extra for you. As knights returned home, they brought home new products they discovered in the Middle East. These holy wars exposed Europeans to many new spices, fabrics, jewels, etc. Europeans began to demand more of these great discoveries, and explorers soon began expeditions to these exotic places in hopes of expanding trade.
Marco Polo was one of these such explorers. He traveled overland to Asia on what became known as the Silk Route.
Okay, remember that you're filling in those notes, getting ready to use them on Thursday in class.
Faster, cheaper, safer trade routes. As we just mentioned, explorers began looking for trade routes to the Middle East and Asia for these new products. However, they soon discovered that traveling across land was very difficult. It took years for a person to travel across the Silk Road and back. It was also extremely dangerous, and thieves would position themselves along the route and rob merchants of all of their trade goods.
Soon, explorers began to contemplate water routes. However, many feared traveling any great distance across the ocean. One of their fears was of sea monsters. Can you believe that? Look at the bottom right picture. This was one of the sea monsters they worry about. In your notes, fill in what actual animals may have influenced the idea of sea monsters.
Christopher Columbus was an explorer who was ready to prove that you could sail west from Europe and reach Asia. He figured it would be faster than trying to go around the tip of Africa. Now, we know that the story has been told that people disagreed with Columbus's plan simply because they thought he would fall off the edge of the earth. However, it's important to note most educated people in Europe knew the earth was round. Scientists had already proven through experiments that the earth was round. It took Columbus quite a long time to convince anyone to finance his experimental adventure. I think you know the rest of that story.
Curiosity is next. For years, people used myths and legends to answer the unknown. However, that changed in the mid-1400s with the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg. Copying books used to be done by hand and was extremely time-consuming. Therefore, books were quite the rarity. However, the printing press increased the speed with which books could be copied. Therefore, more books were available to the average person. As people began reading, the more they wanted to learn and truly answer the unknown. This time period was known as the Renaissance. More experiments were performed to answer life's questions. Many explorers began to take adventures to see new lands.
Well, as we all know, money can be a huge motivator. Many people were urged to go exploring with the hope of finding cities of gold or other riches. Many monarchs were encouraged by the idea of gaining wealth and therefore were willing to finance these explorers' expeditions. Yeah, oh yeah, I know. Of course, these expeditions will lead to the downfall of many native tribes in both North and South America, especially after the discovery of gold in South America.
Personal fame and glory. Many of us would love to see our names in the bright lights, right? Well, for many, this is a huge motivator, including explorers. They wanted their names in history books for making a huge discovery of new lands or huge treasures. Of course, several of these explorers were successful. We are still talking about them today, aren't we? In fact, we even celebrate a holiday in honor of Christopher Columbus's mistaken discovery of America, although his fame eventually died out in his lifetime. Poor guy.
National pride and competition. As discoveries were made, more and more countries raced to join in, claiming up all the new lands. Land equals power. The more land you controlled, the bigger your empire and the more power your country possessed. Is this still true today? Does land still equal power? Let's discuss this in class. However, you should have some thoughts jotted down in your notes. You can imagine what happened when more than one country claimed the same land. War. War broke out among many countries in this quest to control the world. For example, Francis Drake attacked some Spanish treasure ships. In return, the Spanish sent in their armada, basically every warship they owned. However, the English still won.
And religion. The last reason we are going to discuss is religion. As we have already mentioned, Catholicism strongly influenced Europe for many years. It was a huge part of European culture as well as government. The Catholic Church added a goal to these explorers' expeditions: convert natives to Christianity. They considered natives to be heathens, and Europeans felt it was their duty to save these people. Remember Texas history and the mission system?
And that ends your notes. See, not so bad.
Crazy part.